The Godzilla film franchise is one of the most expansive and unlimited in terms of scope and quality than any other franchise in history. Whether you're looking for something lighthearted, action-packed, or serious explorations, Godzilla has it all, and many of the films in the series have been able to blend all of these together well simultaneously. But the Godzilla films in the series that stood the test of time are the serious ideas, with plots and characters that is smart, thought-provoking, with open conflicts or different factions. Some of which given the chance to argue one's point of view and justify their perspectives, and who you ultimately agree with comes down to your own personal worldview, while also encouraging audience members to ask themselves interesting questions. And there is one film in the Godzilla series that does this very effectively, and that is from the 1984 film The Return of Godzilla. The film was a sequel to the original 1954 film and a reboot of the brand, bringing the franchise back to its roots of the serious, darker themes and tones of the original. After its release in December 1984, the following year, America bought the distribution rights to the film to be adapted for Western audiences, and re-edited the entire film while adding some more creative flavor and new additional footage. The quality of the film is still an ongoing debate in Godzilla Kaiju giant monster fandoms and communities over which version is superior over the other. For the most part, both versions are the same, with some small creative differences, mostly in regards to the script, and the American alternative is quite interesting, which brings me to one moment from this version, and that is character Steve Martin's closing monologue. In the final minute of Godzilla 1985, American reporter Steve Martin, played by actor Raymond Burr, gives a closing narration. This looks and sounds very simple at first glance, but it is actually a fantastic and one of the most potent explanations about Godzilla. As Godzilla has fallen into his volcanic demise as Japan and America watches, Steve Martin gives a speech about Godzilla and how he is more than just a giant strange monster of terror and destruction. It's a really compelling monologue that transcends the entire film, as well as the original Japanese screenplay. It's a very significant and quite underrated moment in the history of the franchise, and it's also one of the first scenes when I was at a very young age when I first saw it on a bootleg VHS tape that I remember was spellbinding in a monster movie, and a scene that stuck with me my whole life. There's some interesting history and trivia about this moment. Raymond Burr has an extensive history to the Godzilla franchise and was more than just a typical actor starring in the movies. The Americanization of the Japanese original Godzilla King of the Monsters in 1956 and Godzilla 1985. Actor Raymond Burr added a lot to both of these projects. His performance and character Steve Martin, which he reprised in Godzilla 1985, is mostly a background, while giving commentary to events throughout the movie, shedding lights on Godzilla to the American cast and the audience, while at the same time giving the illusion that he is more prominent than he actually really is.
You may have to rethink your strategies, gentlemen. There's probably no weaponry effective against Godzilla, except perhaps...
Who are you?
Name is Martin. You asked for me to be brought here.
For the most part, the human aspect and characters in Godzilla or giant monster movies in general are not particularly nuanced or complex, but are straightforward, with some more interesting than others. But American character Steve Martin was truly special. Raymond Burr loved Godzilla and believed the monster should be treated with respect. The original Hollywood script for The Return of Godzilla was supposed to be a full comedy feature. Raymond Burr completely objected against the idea, and if he was going to reprise his role, the movie should be taken seriously. He was a big fan of The Return of Godzilla, and if a re-edit or new version was going to be made, it should stay true to the concepts, tone, and themes of the original. And his character's monologue at the end that he wrote himself into the script is an excellent, well-written addition that reveals something important about Godzilla. And it's one of the few parts that Godzilla 1985 does better than the original Japanese version. The Return of Godzilla was a solid, exceptional kaiju film that brought Godzilla back to its roots, and what made the original so good, exploring the concerns of atomic power and mankind developing and using weapons of mass destruction. And Godzilla is a living supreme being made to punish for the sins of his creation. And Steve Martin's monologue in Godzilla 1985 adds so much more with this message. This was the most dramatic part in the movie, and with the addition of Steve Martin's monologue after Godzilla's fall into the volcano, with the original Japanese score by Reijiro Kuroku, really transcends this scene as well as the entire film. Godzilla is not only a symbol and a reminder of the nuclear menace created by mankind's pursuits and arrogance for the next great weapon, but he's also a force of nature. A nature's demonstration of power to remind humanity can't function as alpha predators, that humanity needs to let go of their pride and aggression to reach an understanding with nature. And that's what the monster Godzilla is. He is nature in the flesh, uncontrollable, untamable, and physically imposing. And like all of nature's extreme forces, humanity tries their best to avoid encounters with them. And that's what makes the Godzilla franchise so interesting. They are movies that say more about humanity than they do about the aesthetics of giant monsters destroying cities and fistfights. There have been plenty of good descriptions and discussions about Godzilla on screen in the series' history, and Godzilla 1985 is certainly no different. I love this monologue because it takes the classic concepts, themes, including Godzilla's character, and it adds even more significance and layers to them. And the fact that this was an addition to the screenplay made from a Godzilla fan, that was a big contributor in making Godzilla into the pop culture icon that he is today. An extraordinary actor who fought to treat the movie seriously, as well as treat Godzilla with even more respect, creating a memorable and powerful, monstrous moment.
Nature has a way sometimes of reminding man of just how small he is. She occasionally throws up the terrible offsprings of our pride and carelessness to remind us of how puny we really are in the face of a tornado, an earthquake, or a Godzilla. The reckless ambitions of man are often dwarfed by their dangerous consequences. For now, Godzilla, that strangely innocent and tragic monster, has gone to Earth. Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.